All right, so this is for my Patreon subscribers. This isn't going to be part of the normal show, but this is a technique for making soap in layers, and I'm going to show you how I make like a triangle layer. So here we go. Um, this is my vanilla patchouli soap, and as you can see, there's like this green, and there's a slightly purple color, and there's this cream color here at the top. I did these with all natural plant powders. They're not going to be as bright and vibrant as micas, but it still is a pretty cool effect, and it's done very simply. All you got to do is angle your mold, and then you're going to have to do a couple of techniques just to make sure that you're not mixing them together as you pour. But let's get into the process because I'm just talking about the soap. So here we go. Life soaps, and since you are a Patreon subscriber, you're getting access to some extra content. And I swear one of these days I will learn how to not cut off my entire head. But anyway, I'll be showing you some how-tos. And this is how to make kind of a striated bar on an angle. I've got my mold set, and behind it I've got two pieces of wood. I know, it's really high-tech, right? But you know, depending on the angle you want, you can set it up higher. I set mine at a 45-degree angle. I take a couple of 1x1s and stack them on top of each other, and then they're just kind of behind it. And you just got to be very careful not to knock it over. You know, I guess if I was smart, I'd put a couple clamps behind it and hold it in place. But you know, I always wing these things. Okay. Just stack it at the angle that you want it, and then you make your soap. Okay. I've got my soap divided into 3 batches because in order to get 3 layers, I have to have 3 separate batches of soap. And so I'm going to be using, instead of mica color today, this is a natural soap. It doesn't have any non-natural or non-organic ingredients in it. So for the green layer, 80% of my soaps are all natural. I do like to use micas, but in my regular production line, we use a lot of plant powder. A lot of alfalfa, a lot of green comfrey, a lot of tomato, a lot of turmeric, a lot of paprika, things like that that really provide nice colors. They're just different, you know, but once you get used to using them, they're actually, I think, a lot better. I'm going to use some alfalfa powder, and I'm going to put a little bit in there, like 2 tablespoons. Now, I don't mention this, so I'm going to say it now, and because I don't mention it till like towards the end because I totally forgot. You add dry powders like this to oil, and then you add your lye, and you're going to have a clumped mess. Okay, you want to use your stick blender and stir it up and disperse that powder so that it is no longer clumped. Because otherwise, you're going to have to fight through the soap mixture in order to get your powder incorporated, and usually that's going to be a big fail. And you're going to end up with these big chunks of powder in your soap. They're going to collect pockets of lye, and it's not going to be good. If you don't want the actual powder in your soap, you can infuse it in your oil by soaking it and then straining it, rebottling it for use later as a color. Wow, that's I like the exfoliating factor of plant material, so it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother my customers either. Wow. So let's get started, all right? Okay, so I'm going to do the typical mixing. You know, I'm going to add in my lye to the oil, get my gloves and my safety equipment going here. Let's see, is this a good place to stop? Okay, adding in my lye, you know, cleaning it up, getting my stick blender. I'm going to pause. Let's back up just, okay, so this is a combination of vanilla and patchouli oils that have a really nice scent together. The vanilla is actually a vanilla fragrance, so it's the one non-natural ingredient in this entire soap. But you know, it's so hard to be 100%. I love the combination of these 2 things. I use dark patchouli oil, get it from Bulk Apothecary. They have a reasonable priced selection there. You can get 16 ounces for about 60 bucks. So, you know, for those of you who want a soap with doTERRA and Young Living, don't do it. It's not worth it. Anyway, I'm going to add that in eventually, but I got the lye in there right now. And now we've got it all mixed together. So let's have a listen. And this is what I mean by trace. If you can see that ring that just stays, that means the soap's pretty thick. And for doing this type of a soap, that's what you want, is a thick layer, okay? So see the ring? That's what you want to get. That's called trace. So it took me about 10 minutes to mix this up. I didn't want to have you watch me do that. I always add my scent oils about the last 2 minutes or so of my process. Um, I don't time it. It's a feel thing, like anything else in life. When you've done it enough, you just know when to do it. But here we go. Because you want it to set up a little bit faster. You don't want to be pouring really thin levels on top of each other. Let me reset this camera. All right, so let's pour this baby out. And then I'll show that to you. You are so cool. It's almost too thick. So I guess I should have poured it the other way so you could see it come out, but you get the idea. It goes in the mold. Let's get all the good stuff out. Like I told you in the past, we don't want to waste any material. We don't want to wash our profits down the drain, right? See, that's like a bar of soap right there. Get it all out. Okay, so that's going to be the first layer there, folks. I'm going to kind of shake it up and settle it in. Let's get going here. Okay, so I get it all out. Set that aside. I'm going to kind of jiggle it so it's all kind of even. And then I'm going to start on the next layer. Okay, here we go. So my next layer is going to be about this. This is red madder root powder I'm bringing up. Red madder root powder in the oil. I've already added 2 tablespoons to it. And red madder root is a cool little powder because on a lighter level, it can be kind of this nice light red. And if you use it in greater concentrations, it can become a very deep purple. It's actually a really beautiful natural color to work with. I know that my soap here is ready to use because when I go like this, it doesn't jiggle, doesn't move. That means the surface tension on it is starting to thicken, and it will hold up another layer of soap. That's why I stirred it to such a thick trace too, because then it thickens up faster. It only took about 5-7 minutes for it to get to that stage. So, so in the mold that is. So it's worth it to spend a little extra time blending. So let me pause the video, mix this up, and then we'll get back to pouring. Okay? You got it. Wow, magic. Okay, so here's my red madder root mixture. As you can see, this is at a trace level. It's leaving that ring that we like to see. It's not as thick as the last one, but that's okay. This one sets up fast. The additives help. So that is what we want. Notice the deep purple of it. That'll get a little darker once it sets. Here's the original layer. As you can see, it's at an angle because it is not set up flat. So, I've got a couple pieces of wood under there. See how precarious that is? You can almost see it. Hang on a second. Let's go. See, this is what happens when I try to show you things. See how precarious that is right there? That's just, that's why I said I should probably have a couple of clamps holding it up in the back. But, I'm lazy. And I guess I take for granted I know what I'm doing. So, safety first, people. You don't want to spill this all over the place. It makes a huge mess. You could get a chemical burn cleaning it up. So just be careful, please. Holding it up. And so that soap leaves kind of a 45-degree angle. And that's how we're getting those striations. I'm no math teacher. It's probably not 45 degrees, but. Let me put the camera back and we'll pour. So, once again, let's get this bad boy in there. And just like we did with the last batch, get every last bit out. That is practical to do. I mean, I'm not going to lick the spoon or anything. That'd be gross. This ain't cookies, boss. Smell good, though. And now we will get that pot washed. I'll jiggle it just like I did the last one, make sure it's kind of even, you know, so that way it has the same surface. Now, I can't pour any more in at this angle because it's full. So when I get this next batch done, it's going to have to lay flat. I want to back it up just a bit because I'm talking about this next additive here. So let's see what I say. Here we go. Of our striated soap, we're about ready to start. This time I'm going to use red sandalwood powder, and I haven't added it yet. So probably my favorite natural colorant. And something that I have not mentioned on the last two videos, or the last two segments of this video, excuse me, is that you need to disperse your powder, your natural powder, with your stick blender in the oil before adding your lye. It's like I knew what you were going to say. Otherwise it clumps up and it's hard to work with. Awesome. The very first batch, that first layer, I had clumps of that alfalfa powder in it. It took me a few minutes to break them down. So only past you could have said that in the beginning. Just, stir it up real quick with your blender and then give it a few whirs and you will break up all that powder and be super easy to work with. Yeah, we said that. This is the part that always scares me because I've got an immovable piece of soap, so it seems. Moving my wood out of there, but I'm going to drop it down now and make sure it doesn't slide. Sometimes it does. It wants to. I can see it doing it. If it does slide, you just let it sit a little bit longer. If it gets harder, then it tends to not move. But you got to remember, this is really soft soap. Even though it's hard enough to hold the surface tension, it's really soft. So it's going to require some patience to work with. So, if you want, just set it down at the very last minute and pour your soap then. So we're going to get batched up and poured here so you can see the final layer. And, whoa, here we go. It's that red sandalwood powder. Oh, never mind. I'll let myself talk. It cures to really nice dark brown. Gives a cappuccino look. So this soap, when it's done, will have 3 layers in it that will be green at the bottom, be like a purplish red in the center, and this cappuccino on the top. Here's one of the previous versions I did, and we went green, and then we put the red sandalwood in the center, and I used an olive powder here for this color. This time I'm replacing this one with a cappuccino, and this middle section will be the purple, and then we'd still have the green at the bottom. So now I like to change things up a little bit, keep people on their toes. But that's it for this. And that's how you do striated soaps, ladies and gentlemen. Practice pouring and drying and tilting and pouring and drying and tilting and see what kind of cool combinations you can come up with. That's the thing about soap. There's no one right way to do it. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'm Bill, owner of Whole Life Soaps, Ryewood, California. Thanks for being a patron on my Patreon. Appreciate it.